All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, as we all know, one of the biggest free agent signings that the Jets made was bringing in wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans, Corey Davis. Now, I like to think that I know a little bit about Corey Davis, but I'm not an expert on Davis. But my buddy Mark from Titan Upload is. Thank you too, by the way, for coming on. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
Cool. So, Corey Davis, what do you think he excelled at during his time with Tennessee? I know he battled with consistency, but where do you think Davis's strengths lied?
Corey's a 50-50 guy. And part of the things with Corey, you got to get him involved early. And when you get him involved early, can blossom. I mean, we've seen big games against Gilmore and the Patriots. I think he went for over 150. He's had big game against the Eagles, including the game winner. And then he had some playoff performances. Let's not forget, like he had a really tough first season because he had all sorts of hamstring issues. But in that playoff game against Malcolm Butler, 2 touchdowns, by far his best performance of that season of his rookie year. So Corey kind of gets a bad rap sometimes when they say he disappears from games because a lot of it is you got to throw him the football. Yeah, he doesn't have that separation that, some obviously a top 5 should have, but he's a physical guy. He's a great blocker. I know that sometimes you hear that as a negative, but honestly, like Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards, Corey Davis is a big part of that. Why? Because how he plays the game, never gives up on plays, consistently down the field blocking and doing his thing, trying to help the football club. Corey wants to win. He's quiet, but he wants to win games. Tough guy. So I think you guys got to steal in Corey Davis. My favorite Titan, as I told you on the side there, we're really going to miss him. I'm going to miss him more than anyone, I think, but he's a great dude. And I think you guys will love him.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, Corey Davis to me was always like a physical specimen. He wins at 50-50 balls, good in the red zone, good hands, can never really separated, like you said, on a consistent basis. But the one knock that I always heard about Davis was he just disappears. Like some games he's incredible. He's like the number one guy in the Titans offense. And then other games it's like, where is he? Did he even play? With that being said, where do you think Corey Davis is, or I guess the better way to phrase it, what are his weak spots? Where does this guy need to improve? Obviously, he's not a perfect receiver. He's not a top 5. He's not a top 10. But I like to think Corey Davis has that potential. But where do you think he needs to get better?
He's a good route runner. But I can, keep getting better with route running. If you can't create that separation, you're going to have to be really skilled in other areas. But, the occasional drop was kind of his downfall, right? Game's going fine, and then, you throw it to him on a 3rd and 7, and he's open, and he drops the ball. It is what it is. He had some drops in college. It's continued over in the NFL. If he can clean that up, I think I read a stat where we got Reynolds today, and everyone's trying to compare him. He's going to be Corey Davis and all this. Corey Davis had like 9 drops. I think Reynolds had 7 drops. And I know there's a difference in amount of how many times they threw the ball to Corey compared to Reynolds. But again, Corey's going to do some things when he's you get him, like I mentioned, you got to get him involved early. So if you guys still have Darnold, that's going to be your key there. Get him involved early. A.J. Brown just kind of took off. That also hurt Corey Davis. And that has nothing to do with Corey Davis. It's just A.J. Brown took off. So.
Right. So you talked about the drops. Were these drops just random drops like here and there, or did you find like common themes? Like, was it 3rd down clutch drops? Like you need to make the catch and he's just dropping it, or he's dropping TD passes, or is it just like a slant early in the game? It just like slipped through his fingers. Like, were they important plays? Like, do they get into his head, or is it just like random?
Well, you can go look at the Texans game, last game of the year. Which led up to that Baltimore game where he's on the sidelines and, it's the 4th quarter in a playoff game. He's on the sidelines with his helmet off. That was our last image of Corey Davis, and it's not a fair image because I think he was hurt, Vrabel said, but he had a really tough game against the Texans. I think he dropped 3 passes. He catches 2 of those. He's over 1,000 yards, so he had his best season last year.
Right.
Did he find the end zone overwhelmingly? No, I think he only had 4 or 5 touchdowns last year and, a couple here and a couple there, but they're the plays where every now and then he's got a little separation and he just kind of drops it and you're like, oh, Corey. But some of these plays are top 5 plays. Like, hey, you're drafted number 5 overall, throw the ball in the corner of the end zone. You got to go bring it down. It's a tough catch, but you got to make the play. And some of those were missing for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and it's funny because it sounds a lot. Corey Davis sounds a lot like this Jet wide receiver. I don't know if you know him, Braylon Edwards. He was on the team like 10 years ago.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it sounds really, really similar. Both physical guys, both can win like in jump balls, a lot of strengths, but they both kind of have a drop problem. They both kind of have a separation issue at times. But you mentioned that Corey Davis is coming off the best season of his career, right? 5 touchdown passes, like you said. Do you think that was the limit last season? Like, were you astonished when you saw that? Or was it like, okay, finally he should be here. Let's see if he keeps improving. And where do you think moving forward, if he can still get better, if that makes any sort of sense? Like, is
Yeah.
this it?
I think he'll keep improving. You got to keep in mind, he's had multiple offensive coordinators. He's had Mariota, no offense to Mariota, but he had Mariota in the beginning of his career. And then Tannehill kind of, it takes a little bit of time to mesh with Ryan. And Ryan was meshing with A.J. Brown and Ferkser and some of those kind of guys. So A.J. Brown or Corey Davis kind of took I wouldn't say a step back or anything, but he was kind of the second option. But this year, so much attention on A.J. Brown opens the door for Corey Davis to step up. And like I said, I think you guys really, it broke my heart when he left. Titans fans, if you ask them about it, they're divided. They were divided on Mariota. They're divided on Corey Davis. But Davis was a part of changing the culture down in Nashville. I mean, he had 2 playoffs games when he first came in the league his rookie year. And then we had that nice run where we ended up losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I mean, Corey Davis was vital in all those games. I know a lot of it goes with Derrick Henry, deservingly so, but Corey played a big part in that, and then last year we made the playoffs with Corey. So what? In his 4 years as a Titans made the playoffs 3 of those 4 years. When's the last time you could say that about a receiver, especially for the Titans, who haven't had the most best receivers in their longevity in Nashville, at least. Houston, we can have a different story on that one, but
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like I guess the perception from a lot of Jets fans out there when we initially brought Corey Davis in, because we signed him that 3-year contract, $37.5 million, it was, okay, great. We like Corey Davis a lot. He's better than pretty much everybody that we have, but Kenny Golladay is still on the board. Juju Smith, Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, all of these guys are still out there, and we're picking Corey Davis. So there was a certain level of excitement, but at the same time, there was also, I want to say, like a mass, like, this is it kind of. Where do you think Davis will land as far as his play in 2021? How do you think this signing will go? Will he drop off in production with the Jets? This new offense that's going to be coming in, it's going to be based more around the running game. But Davis in New York will, I'm assuming here, have a bigger role with the Jets offense than he did in Tennessee, where it goes through Derrick Henry, and then you have A.J. Brown emerging. Ryan Tannehill doesn't turn the football over, a better offensive line. Corey Davis in New York all of a sudden becomes the guy, and he's getting paid like the guy. Do you think he will continue to not only just get better, but he will thrive in that role?
To be honest, I wasn't excited for him picking New York, because I think he needs a clear cut what you're doing. As far as, I'm not sure who your quarterback is. I'm not sure if you're like, exactly who, you know what I mean? And it's not a knock on any of you. I think it's just up in the air. We're not really sure what's going to happen in New York, but that's the only offensive line, from what I hear, is not the greatest in New York. You're kind of revamping that. I mean, who knows? Like, how's the running game in New York? I mean, you got to build that up too. So Corey, he gets a bad rap, like I said, to play action with Tannehill, right? Mm-hmm. But if Darnold and Corey might work out, believe it or not. I just felt like Corey would have been better off going somewhere else that had an offensive game plan that's more consistent. But he changed the culture in Nashville. He was part of that, so he could definitely help you guys out in New York.
Yeah, it's good.
As far as those other receivers, real quick, I think you guys picked the right one. I do. Look at Jonnu Smith, for example, 450 yards last year. A lot of Titan fans are like, he didn't do, but they didn't really make him the vital point of the offense, right? So what's Bill Belichick do? He actually pays him more than Hunter Henry So that kind of shows you like other people around the league look at the Titans offense a little bit differently than we do down in Nashville because we're so focused on Derrick Henry, which you can see why we are, right? But
Mhm.
Davis and Johnny Smith, they're going to be, I think you guys got steals. Patriots did in Smith and you guys in Davis.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I remember when Davis initially signed, it was kind of like, whoa, like we just brought in Corey Davis, like nobody was expecting it. It was nuts. But Mark, I appreciate you stopping by. I know it's in the middle of the day. I just want to thank you. And by the way, for everybody watching this video, for Titans fans out there, go check out his channel. Again, link is down below in the description box. In the description box, excuse me. Mark, thanks so much, man.
Hey, real quick, as far as toughness, please take care of the guy. He's soft spoken, but the guy is tough as nails. He had a really tough year, as you know. He lost his brother. I've been to his camp before. His family and him super super close, obviously, but him growing up around the Chicago area, the suburbs there, it was a lot of fun. Corey tweeted out my son. I mean, he's a great dude. Okay, so you're gonna love him in that regard. He's not gonna say a whole lot, but trust me, players are gonna love him there. But for him to play in the game a couple days after his brother died is just unbelievable. We got destroyed by the Colts. Okay, that was Thursday night. But if you're going to question his toughness, like some might in that last game against the Ravens in the playoffs, look no further than the game after when his brother died. I mean, truly, truly, I mean, such difficult. It'd be so easy just to go back home or do whatever. It was very important for Corey to play with his teammates. That's why I think you're really going to love him. He's sold out for the teammates. And like I said, I think you're really just take care of him for me. Take care of him for me. And I think good things are going to happen in New York.
Yeah, man, it's awesome that you say that. I actually had a buddy interview him before he was a member of the Titans at the combine, and I remember he gave me a call right after I interviewed him. Like, dude, I just interviewed Corey Davis, the nicest guy I've ever talked to. That
Nicest
was
guy
the
ever.
first thing that he said. He said he couldn't have been nicer, soft spoken, like you said, but just a humble dude, just trying to get better at the game, and it was awesome. But Mark, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks again, Ian. Appreciate it. Tighten up.